Hello, welcome to today's tutorial on the Personal Impact Service Documentation, otherwise known as the PISD. Now this video hopefully will show you how to access the PISD, what sort of things to look for, how to fill it out, and how to submit it correctly. And we're going to take a look at it from both the vantage point of a supervisor and an ally to see kind of their interrelation with each other in as far as completing a whole PISD. Now the first thing you want to do in order to access the PISD is open your web browser and go to www.publicallies.org. Once you access that, this web page shows up in front of you. And on the top right where it says Allies, Fellows, Partners, Staff, and Alumni, log in here, click here. And this page pops up where you're gonna have to put your username and your password, which will have been sent to you. Once you do that, this page pops up. And as you can see, on the top right, this is an Allies PISD. The Allies name is shown. Now navigating the page really just takes pointing at your mouse cursor at the different red tabs that you see in front of you, and things pop up where you can just click on those. So for example, if I float my mouse cursor to my position, the position, the job description that I have, and the organization information that I'm placed at shows up, so I can navigate those. But for the most part of your 10 months, you're probably going to be logging in mostly to Timelog and service reflections. Now, Timelog is pretty much what it sounds like. It's logging in the hours that you've worked. And those are going to be due on the 15th of every month and on the last day of every month. So you're going to submit basically 2 time logs per month on the 15th and at the last day of the month. Service reflection are going to be once per month, and that's going to be at the end of every month. Now, one thing to note about submitting your PISD is that while it's due on the 15th or at the end of the month, you do have a 2-day grace period as an ally to submit them. So if it's due on the 15th and things are hectic that day, and you are not able to do the PISD, then you can actually do it on the 16th or the 17th and still be okay. However, that grace period does also include the weekend. So if the PISD happens to be due on a Friday the 15th, then you have until Sunday to complete it. Now, with that, let's go ahead and look at what the time log first. Let's start off with the time log. So again, if I float on the time log, these things pop up, and I could pretty much navigate time logs that way. To look at the overview, things that I haven't submitted yet, time logs that have been returned to me from my supervisor or from my program manager, things that are waiting approval, and all that. So that's one way to navigate the time log. Now, if you click on any one of those, you can also navigate the time log through these little tabs right here, which are pretty much the same thing as floating. So if you click on returned, it's pretty much the same thing as floating to time log and clicking return, and the same page pretty much pops up. So that's how you navigate the time log. Let's go look at the time log overview, which pretty much breaks down the hours that you've served. It breaks it down from training, fundraising, placement, service day, your TSP teams, so you can kind of see the different service areas or the hours and how your hours have been broken down. Now on the bottom, you'll also see the total hours, which pretty much is a good way to track your goal in reaching the required hours for AmeriCorps and in order to graduate from the program. It is important to note though that percentage is based on the approved time logs. So you might have submitted one, but it hasn't been approved yet by your supervisor or your program manager. It doesn't count towards that total hours. Now after that, you see return time logs. Currently, this ally has not have any return time logs. But if a supervisor or a program manager has returned it, then it will show up here. You will need to click and complete that. Now, as far as incomplete time logs, which also shows up here, you can see that there's different ways the time log is incomplete. In order for a time log to be completed, the ally must have submitted it, the PO supervisor must have approved it, and then the program manager must have approved it. So once all those 3 are true, then the time log is actually considered complete. Now, as you can see on this page, this ally has submitted it, but the supervisor still hasn't approved it, or the ally has even started a PISD from a pay period, but has not actually submitted it yet. So that's the case. So there's different ways that the PISD is incomplete. Now, in order to fill out the time log, at least, you can click on any one of these. Let's say the pay period that I'm trying to submit is from the 16th to the 31st. I click on that link and this pops up. Now it's pretty simple in that you're just really filling out the hours that you've worked as an ally. You can see the different dates that are in that time period, and you just pretty much put your placement hours in there. Now you can see Monday through Thursday you're pretty much in your placement, so you put that and you log that there. And then Fridays is pretty much Friday training, so you log that there. If you have a service day on the weekend, then make sure you're also logging that. Also log in or click rather if you've been late or absent. Now, if you're late or absent, or if you've worked more than 11 hours total in one day, then you're gonna have to explain it on the bottom of this this page where it says explain why you're late or absent, or if it adds up to more than 11 hours. In this case, this ally was late because he got caught speeding on the 18th, 5/18. So things like that. Then you probably would also explain why you worked more than 12 hours on Tuesday. So you would also type that in there. Now, a couple of things to note. Also, make sure to notice the fundraising hours because AmeriCorps stipulates that you cannot fundraise towards the actual overhead of your organization. Make sure you're not logging those in, and make sure you're not actually even doing it. But you are allowed to fundraise as long as it is fundraising towards the direct service of the program. And so with that, make sure you're logging that in there. But that is capped at 10%. And so this is one of the ways in which we can check whether you exceeded the cap of that 10% towards the total hours. Make sure you're also logging that in there. So that's pretty much how you're going to fill out this time log. And also the other important thing to note is the lunch break. And so you are awarded half an hour lunch break, but those aren't included in your hours. So for example, if I worked from 9 to 5 and I took half an hour lunch break, then that means I'm only really working 7.5 hours because the increments are by quarter hours. But if I work from 9 to 5:30 and I took a half an hour lunch break, then I worked pretty much 8 hours. So that's how you fill it up again, and it kind of breaks down on the bottom if you want to see the different breakdown of your hours. And you're going to click Save and Continue at the very bottom. Now, Save and Continue, by clicking that doesn't mean you've submitted it. It only gives you kind of the review, a review page where you can review what you've looked at. And then you're going to have to click this box that says I attest the accuracy of this report, and then initial your name. So Prince Fielder, he would put P and F. And then click submit this report. Once you click this submit this report, then it would actually have then been completed. And that's how you would complete a time log. And once again, you would do this on the 15th and on the 31st, 30th, or whatever the end of the month is for that month. And so that's how you would complete that time log. Pretty simple in that case.